Okay, got you on shaky cam. So this is what it looks like when your head just won't let a thing go. There is the gear that was all broke out of our door lock actuator. And this metal gear here, I mean, you can see the size of it compared to my finger. This is what detonated. That was all those little bits. Putting the old one back together wasn't an option because it was really broken. And so I went through my boxes of bits and I found some old clock parts. I actually found a gear that was the right size and pitch and everything else. And I started the process of building this back in. Trial and error, we discovered that epoxy, just that 5-minute gorilla stuff that we used on the hammer video, bonds real well with this plastic. But it's not strong enough to hold this by itself. JB Weld is strong enough to hold this, but it doesn't bond to this plastic. So we had to build a layer of epoxy on the plastic and then build a layer of JB Weld, and that, you see where that's going, right? So kind of back and forth, made an epoxy sandwich. It's strong. It should be okay. I'm just curing the last bit of epoxy on there. You can see it kind of shiny on the bottom edge, right? So that's going to cure overnight. It ain't pretty, but you're never going to see it. What else? Okay, so here you can see where some of these gears are a different color. That's because when that other thing detonated, these got all ground up and they mesh up with this. And then here's the rack of the rack and pinion right here. That's what engages with that gear. So I did a test fit and it was binding up a little bit, so that's why we had to clean up the teeth on that gear. But something else that I noticed, I wanted to show you here quick. This is actually pretty cool. I was trying to figure out, because it freewheels, you see how that's freewheeling? It's not engaging this. This gear is what gets picked up by, here's the motor. And it's this is freewheeling, and I couldn't quite figure out how the thing that we fixed, which goes here, and this one engaged with the motor. But check it out. Let me move this one out of the way. Stuff is tiny. See that metal collar on there? It's got two little tabs. I'm going to move you back so I can kind of see what we're doing here. And that swings back and forth. It's a centrifugal clutch. So when that electric motor spins really, really fast, it spins this, and it's mounted on this pivot point. See that? So when that motor spins really fast, it kicks that counterweight out to one side, and that's what engages this gear, which then transfers it down the line to that rack and pinion, and the door opens, or the lock, you know. That was just a really cool way to engineer that. I'm glad this one didn't break, because we would have still probably figured something out, but holy smokes. So yeah, it's got that little centrifugal clutch in there, and when it spins fast enough, it engages this. So it just sends a little burst, opens up that circuit, lets that motor spin, you know, one direction or the other, just long enough that it kicks that actuator arm this way. It's really cool. So I guess the next mission is going to be put that back in here, glue up our corners. We don't have to go crazy because remember those spring clips? That's going to hold that together really tight, but we'll just put some glue on the corners to hold that together. Plug it in, and well, it'll either do a thing or it won't. But Yeah, couldn't leave it well enough alone. So we made a thing. All right. Well, comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff right down there. We'll bring you back when that's ready to be tested. Peace. Okie dokie. Well, we're back together. It's the following morning. Everything set up. The epoxy was where we were happy with it. Just lubed it up a little bit, put it back together. Now, instead of gluing it or anything else, I just put these little screws at the corners, and those worked out okay. Got the plug back on, wrapped it in a couple spots with a little electrical tape where I had to cut away at that housing to get it apart. And if you compared it to where we were when nothing was working, now you can hear everything synced up in there. Okay, well, next step, go back and take Dadvan Mark II apart again. Plug that in, hit the clicker, and we'll see what she does. We'll bring you back in a sec. Okay, folks, moment of truth. I let me show you. Got the door panel off, but the obviously that's not where that goes, but I was able to snake my arm in there and plug it in, because before we go through all that monkey business taking that whole assembly out, let's see if it does the thing. All right, there. Okay, you can see where that's at. Okay, we got the clicker. Hit lock, unlock. That's the driver's door. That's the rest of them. Lock, unlock driver. So it's too early to call it a complete win, but it does the thing. And it doesn't feel, as I'm holding it here, it doesn't feel like it's binding up at all. It's a little louder, which I would expect with a metal gear instead of a plastic one. But it seems to be doing the thing. It's holding itself pretty well engaged. Cool. All right, well, time to dig all that back out. All right, stand by. Well, there it sits, mounted back in that spring clip with the boot on there. Before I put this together, I'm going to hit this mechanism with a little bit of lube. Just make sure that nothing's working harder than it has to. But yeah, we unlock, lock. Hey, cool. Let's get that lubed up, button this back up, and do one more check on it. Handy tip when you're putting something like this together: just get these finger tight. Let some play in it. See that? As you're getting all those lined up. Is that one that hides? But they should turn really nice and free by hand before you start torquing them. If you start torquing these, something's not going to line up, and you got to go back through it all anyway. So, all right, so we're all buttoned back up again, and we go back to clicker cam. Well, it's working for now. You know, bought ourselves some time anyway, and kept something else out of the junk. So I hope you enjoyed the little journey. Score one for the good guys today. So yeah, comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff down there, and catch you next time. Peace.